Hi, my name is Fahd Hamidaddin. I'm the CEO of the Saudi Tourism Authority and the Vice Chair of Tourise.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting Breaking Travel News to sit down with you here on day one of Tourise. What a phenomenal event. Huge congratulations. Would love, first of all, to get your initial reflections and perspectives.
My feedback is going to be simply summarizing the feedback I've been getting from my friends. I've been asking them out of 10, how is it? I've heard numbers I've never allowed to be, like 11 and 12. The only person that gave me an 8 was from the media. And when I said why, they said they just can't have enough time with the guests to interview. So it's been phenomenal.
A good problem to have.
Yes, yes.
I'd love to just sort of hear, I suppose, in a sense, sort of, you've obviously been working on this project now for some time. This vision that you have, I think, really, I suppose, in a sense, is linked and reflects your overall strategy. Tell me more about that.
Sure. So, honestly, this started with the vision of the chairman of Tourise, who is the Minister of Tourism and the chairman of STA. He's been to so many events, like we all do, and said, but most of the biggest opportunities and the biggest, toughest problems cannot be addressed with the current tourism summits, simply because, one, the public and the private sector are not really gathered in one room to address those opportunities and challenges. Second, many of those opportunities and challenges cannot be addressed by the sector of tourism alone. Even if connected with the private sector, with the public sector, they need to bring all the contributors, all sectors that contribute to that tourism value chain or tourism consumption economy. And I remember explaining this to you. If you think of the tourism economy, it's basically made by the destinations where travelers go. And if you think of France or Europe at large and see retail luxury goods, 70% of luxury good sold in Europe is sold to travelers, not to residents. Talk mobility, and I'm not talking about, if I take London, forget the black cab. Black cab is for travelers, but even underground, 48% of users are travelers, not residents. Many say that the real estate growth and hype in Manhattan is not driven by people that work in Manhattan, but rather the visitors, whether short or long stay in the Airbnbs. So the point is, the economy that we're talking about, the trillions of dollars that this tourism consumption economy represents, is actually made by many sectors that never convene under one roof, let alone the tourism on roof. So the tourism roof. So we wanted to make sure that Tourise creates this opportunity and reintroduces new relationships and frameworks for multi-sectors to realize opportunities that they could not do in silo. And that's what we're hopefully seeing. We're seeing the birth of so many initiatives coming out of this year one, initiatives that will address border controls. And of course, this is not something that was ever possible without involving not just the private sector like Homeland Security or border control, but also financial services, banking, credit cards, to identify, profile, and address the challenge that countries have on filtering financial solvency. Another initiative about we're building an alliance of cities and destinations to address common challenges of urban challenges, whether it is urbanism of existing cities or it is master plans of new cities. But the alliance is going to start with safety of cities and destinations for travelers. It's going to talk about the dispersion of traffic to address over-tourism. And we could not have done this by just having mayors, but mayors hospitality, mobility companies, and we're going to showcase many new solutions for technology and mobility. And having those industry leaders with mayors under one roof is what Tourise is all about. And we have several other initiatives that we will be launching this year. But I can tell you for sure, the best part is how you see the sector leaders having conversations and creating new opportunities we didn't even think of.
You're very much kind of acting, I suppose, in a sense, as a convener, as a catalyst for that. And I think I love what you talk about there, because you're transcending way beyond simply public and private. You're talking about sort of, the complexities of the entire ecosystem and connecting people who are many, many layers away from each other together for the first time to unlock and create new products, new services, and better experiences for travelers. STA is pioneering in this way itself. It's not just convening here at Tourise, but you're applying the same principles to your own destination. Tell me more about that.
Yes, maybe the question is why now and why Saudi? You talked about Saudi, but I want to say the time is actually also very relevant today. The uncertainty that is arising with the AI disruption is making everybody curious, willing to listen more than ever before. And we took this opportunity not just to address AI and what it may disrupt the sector with, but take this opportunity to relook at technology at large, look at integration and intersections between different sectors. Now, why Saudi? You mentioned what STA is doing. The truth is, Saudi at large, forget STA here, Saudi at large is a perfect test bed for so many new innovative concepts at a destination level. So if you think of the city of Qiddiya, that basically hosted the opening of Tourise last night, it's a city that is redefining the concept of play to go beyond leisure to a whole living experience and a DNA. And that could not have happened without futurists, engineers, master planners, mobility, education, all sector leaders thinking about how a city experience could redefine the concept of play throughout life in that city. Talk about regenerative tourism and what Red Sea is doing. The Red Sea Global, the development in Shura Island, is a testament to what technology could do to preserve marine life, what scientists were able to do in those coral nurseries, and so on and so forth. So we are today the largest living testbed of so many concepts. And the best part is when you host something like this, you are at the kitchen of so many other ideas and concepts that arise.
And so, to follow that analogy, the ingredients, the recipe is being created here, not just for Saudi, but also being reflected, I suppose, globally. You're helping shape the future of tourism. Tell me more about what that looks like in your mind.
You're absolutely right. This is not about Saudi. Tourise is not a Saudi platform. It's a global platform. It will only sustain and grow if the members and the participants find value in it. So when I told you the cities and the destination alliance, we have a workshop between nearly 20 mayors and leaders of destinations. They met today and they said, we think there is a need for so many other cities we know and we need to have with us. So the alliance now was, they announced that this alliance needs to grow to 100 cities during this year before next Tourise. So just seeing the value you're creating and the pickup by others, that is the best proof of success. And truly for Tourise, it's all about doing good for the sector, because if you do, you will do well.
You yourself have talked a lot about sort of authenticity being really critical to sort of, I suppose, in a sense, meet the demands of the modern traveller. Tell me more about that.
I think some of it is obvious. It's just that it's more important today to remind ourselves of authenticity. At times of rush for AI, and agentic AI and the humanoids and everybody's excitement behind what we can digitize. So I think it's right to go at full speed, digitizing friction, but we need to remind ourselves that we're in the business of delight. So what we need is to always humanize delight. And the last mile of any experience would definitely be way more meaningful if it's delivered through human interaction. I don't think you would enjoy watching a robotic singing or a robotic humanoid dancing, and that's just performance. But the same thing, you would never get any genuine reaction to a digital welcome that is written on the wall or in a reception digital screen. You still want that human interaction. After all, aren't we there to connect and learn and experience things that touch us? I don't think that could ever be done by technology. And reminding people today at this time is also is absolutely critical. So I think if Tourise can crack a framework of what to digitize and what to humanize that everybody uses as a reference, I think that would be a fantastic contribution.
You've talked a lot about sort of, events and drawing inspiration from many of those that have kind of preceded Tourise. How do you kind of think about sort of trying to create sort of, I suppose in a sense, more of a movement? And the mayor example, I think, is brilliant, that sort of goes beyond this just being an event that runs annually in November.
I think it all starts with identifying a real need. It's not inspiration for the sake of exploration or vanity. You need to identify a real need, whether that is a problem to solve or a growth to realize. Second, bring in the right players that have not been together, and chart a plan, put some action steps and measures, because you don't want just to talk and convene once a year and repeat the same conversation. You want to create real action that you can actually measure and track, and then report to the attendees what has been realized and what hasn't, what's to continue doing and what's to stop doing.
We're operating at the moment in a world which is uncertain in some ways. It's very dynamic. We talk a lot about sort of security, we talk a lot about safety, but at the same time we also talk a lot about sort of access and connectivity. How do you square that circle?
So access is something that the world has always needed to address. But governments do have multiple concerns, from security to probably security sits at the top of the concerns. And then you have economic drainage. You don't want people that will come and abuse your workforce balance and so on. So people choose the easiest and block through visas, the visa system. And one of the biggest filters that countries actually create is behind financial solvency. So you see so many travelers simply because they are from a certain country X, where, let's say, GDP per capita is low. You will be asked for so many documents, whether it's return flight, hotel booking, and then you have to go and maybe bank statement, stamped, authenticated, and then you go to a consulate and do your fingerprints just to address financial solvency. So one of the things that we're doing here is that we brought in the financial system, financial services, banks, credit cards, and we said, can we come up with a qualifier through leveraging your data? Because you can easily identify those that will not overstay and look for a job based on the credit limit they have, credit rating they have. And then, let's say if you have a MasterCard or a Visa, and you apply for a visa and you get a visa by visa, simply because the system recognizes your financial status. That was something unheard of, because governments don't work this way. With Tourise, we're experimenting this, starting with Saudi and a few other countries. And I think it's going to be a very, very important breakthrough, Because imagine if countries like, let's say, India and Indonesia apply this system, you could unlock hundreds of million travelers in no time.
10% of the world is traveling right now, right?
Exactly. And they are all held behind capacity of consulate and how much they can interview.
Such a great point. We've had conversations in the past when you've talked very passionately about your vision for the brand. I'd love to kind of just get a sort of sense, I suppose, in a sense of where you are now on that brand journey.
I'll tell you, Tourise comes from the word tourism rising. And where are we now? I think the plane has taken off. And the reason I say that is because of the line of speakers is probably half filled by policymakers, by mayors, by industry leaders from technology, from retail, from fashion, telecom. It's not the usual suspects of tourism. The amount of non-tourism usual suspects that are heavyweight industry leaders are already on stage. And with them, we've taken off.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.